After our mutation, Father marked us all a different color based on our behaviors. Honestly, to this day, I still think it was because he couldn't tell us apart. Since he spent most of his time training and splitting boards, Mikey decided to give him the nickname Splinter. When we were old enough to talk, Leo decided to declare himself the oldest and Mikey the youngest. I fought over the second oldest with Raph, but I decided to just step down from it and let Raph have it, even though he was a lot smaller back then. We started calling our father Sensei because he would train us in the ways of ninjutsu. Over the years, Leo got really interested in ninjutsu and basically practiced everything with the practice weapons that Sensei gave us. Me, on the other hand, I was more interested in machinery and science and stuff, and I was really good at it even back then. Mikey, on the other hand, being the youngest, decided to tease Raph because of his size, and it was actually during this time that Raph actually started to develop his grumpy side. I think it was because of Mikey. When we became 12, we started to real practice with our weapons a lot more, but we still had practice weapons, so that way we wouldn't hurt ourselves. Leo was really into his training, and Raph actually got his growth spurt and basically outgrew Mikey, so yeah. When we finally became teenagers, we actually finally got our gear and our very own weapons. I honestly was really happy when I got my bow staff, even though it was still wooden. Raph also hit puberty at that time, so yeah, that was fun. And over time, we started to beg and ask Splinter if we could finally go up to the surface. It wasn't until we turned 15 that he finally said yes. After all we had been through with the Krang, the Foot, going through space and time, Super Shredder, we were really exhausted, but we actually grew more closer because of it, and I wouldn't trade that for anything else in the world. I even managed to create a retro mutagen to help cure anyone who was mutated during our adventures. And let me just say, I'm glad that I wasn't the tallest anymore, but all good things must come to an end eventually. During a patrol, we lost Mikey. Leo became more distant and was determined to find out who killed Mikey and avenge him. He would leave the lair and not come back for almost days. He refused to eat anything, and he really lost weight because of it, and honestly, it wasn't healthy for him. When things started to get really out of control, Raph left for upstate back at the farmhouse where we were. And me, I was left out of the equation. I still blame myself for Mikey's death sometimes. After a year of searching, Leo finally avenged Mikey's death, and he decided that he was gonna look for Raph to bring him back home. It took him 2 years to finally find Raph, but when he did, Raph wanted nothing to do with him. The two got into a fight, and well, along the way Leo got blinded and in the process killed Raph. Somehow Leo was actually able to get back home, and when I finally saw him walk into the lair, I had to know what had happened, and he told me everything. A few months later, Leo disappeared again, and I knew I did not want to lose another brother. But when I found him, he was already dead. And me? I live by myself now. The lair is a lot more empty and big for me. I usually get visited by some old friends, like April, Casey, Karai. I mostly just spend my time fixing problems around the city sewers before the real workers can, just to save them some trouble. I recently found out that I have a bad case of influenza, but hopefully I'll get through this.